Hi there. I am Marcelyn Bailey of ML Bailey Consultants, and you are inside of Live with ML Bailey Consultants. Yeah, we didn't put out an announcement today. I apologize for that. We were um, we were working, doing some things, getting some super things ready for you. So I hope you'll, if you aren't able to tune in right now, I hope you will catch the replay. Look forward to your catching the replay because we are talking about something that affects people every day, and that is stress. I posted a couple of posts this morning entitled The Beginner's Guide to Stress Management. And I think it'll be quite helpful to you. The reason I posted it is because, in order to understand how to manage stress, it is important to understand the true nature of stress. We can't manage something that we don't know how it works, right? So, I want to talk today a little bit about what stress is, how it affects us, and then go from there. How about that? All righty. Okay, so first, what is stress exactly? Dr. Hans Selye, who was an endocrinologist, studied stress and studied the stress response. And basically, he determined that that stress, or I should say fight or flight, that the fight or flight response, the stress response, was actually a physical response to an unspecified stimulus, a physical response to an unspecified stimulus. So, what exactly does that mean? What that means is, when we are startled, when we say we're feeling stressed, when we say we're stressed out, basically what we are experiencing is a physical response to a stressor or to some stimuli. Essentially, what happens is our bodies get geared up to fight or flee. And we've talked about the fight or flight response before, but we've never talked about it in terms of it being a physical response. When you're feeling stressed or stressed out, when you're startled because you heard something when you were taking the trash out, the fight or flight response initiates. What happens is your heart starts beating faster and harder, your muscles become tense, your blood pressure goes up, your mouth gets dry. You may find that your breathing is shallow and short, and you also might feel nauseous or may have butterflies in your stomach. These are physical signs that the stress response has been initiated. So when you're feeling stressed and you're saying, I'm so stressed out, or I'm stressed, I'm under pressure, you are having these signs, you're having these symptoms. We have become very accustomed to overlooking those symptoms, however, or those signs, and just going on. But all of these symptoms are related to the stress response. So, number one, you want to understand that stress is really a stress response, and it is a response that was initiated because of a stressor or stimuli. And it is it's physical. We feel it in our bodies. Often, and we'll talk about this at another on another occasion, but very often when we carry a lot of stress in our bodies, it starts to break our bodies down, and we begin to have conditions that and physical conditions that make it difficult for us. So we want to begin to recognize the signs of stress. The other thing that I wanted to share with you is that Stress comes in two different ways. There can be acute stress, which is short term, short lived. That's the stress that occurs. A problem presents itself, you're able to solve the problem, and everything is good, right? That's basically, it would cause acute stress. Chronic stress leads to distress. Distress is that ongoing chronic stress where we find it difficult to think, it's difficult to function, we have trouble completing tasks, we have difficulty getting through the day, we are short tempered, we're on edge, we're tired. It seems like we're overwhelmed, or it feels like we're overwhelmed. So there's acute stress, which is short lived and able to be dealt with with problem solving or good decision making or at some actions. And then there's chronic stress on the other end, which is, or distress on the other end, which is chronic, and it seems like there's no solution and it's completely overwhelming. So, we've talked about physical response. Stress is a physical response to an unspecified stimuli. It comes in different ways. It can be acute, which is short-lived, or it can be distress, which is chronic and ongoing. I want to talk a little bit about constant when stress presents itself in a constant ongoing manner. I did allude to that when I talked about distress. But when we're talking about constant ongoing stress, this is stress that is not necessarily the overwhelming type, meaning it is not distress, but it's just a constant pressure that you may be under. That constant pressure may be through work, it might be because of home circumstances, but it's constant and it's steady. That's one way that we experience stress. The other way we experience stress is when we are bombarded with one thing after another. And it's like you get a flat tire one day, and then your radiator goes out the next day, and then your windshield cracked the next day. So it's like one thing after another, it compounds itself. And I refer to that as compounding stress. And whenever we experience this type of stress, it's very difficult to recover. We while we're trying to figure out one situation, another situation occurs. And so we really don't have time to recover or to deal with the mounting pressures of these constant bombardment of stress related situations. Another type of stress that we can experience, and I call these aggravating little things. I live in Southeast Georgia, and there are bugs called sand gnats, and these sand gnats are so aggravating. I mean, I hate them, and people who live in this area hate them too, because when it's springtime and early fall, they come out when the weather is cool, like right after the sun has come up. When the weather is cool, dew might still be on the grass, and they swarm all over your head, your face, and they're nasty little things because they get in your mouth, they get in your nose, they get in your ears, they get in your eyes. They're horrible. They're horrible little creatures. The thing is, you can't get rid of them. You can't shoo them away because they swarm. You also can't use bug spray because that doesn't get rid of them. And you might want to try using some type of bug repellent. I think it attracts them. So that doesn't work either. Stress can be similar to that. Stressors can be similar to that. You can be bombarded with little nitpicky things constantly, which can create a stressful situation for you. Let me give you an example of that. You get up in the morning to get ready to go to work. You're in the bathroom and you put your contact in, but you're having trouble getting it in, and then it tears or you lose it. Then you recognize or you realize you that was your last pair of contacts. So those two are aggravating little things. Your contact tore, it was your last pair, so you can't wear your contacts. Okay, no problem. I'll just wear my glasses today, you say. So you put your glasses on and you continue to get dressed. As you're getting dressed, you put your top on and you realize there's a stain in it. Oh, so you have to go to your closet and get another top. You pull out another top, and that top has to be pressed because it's wrinkled. Nothing else goes with the bottom, the pants you're wearing or the skirt you're wearing. So you have to press that top. So as you begin to press that top, you're pressing it and you burn a hole in it. So all of these little bitty things, they're not major things, but they're little bitty things that add up. So you change your complete outfit and you head out the door. You get your coffee, you get to your car, you put your coffee on top of your car so you can open the door. And what happens? Your coffee spills all over you. Aggravating little things. All of these things combined, these little sand gnat types of aggravation, contribute to stress. So we've talked about constant ongoing stress. We've talked about one thing after another. We've talked about aggravating little things. Now let's talk about juggling. Many women juggle. They juggle work, they juggle home responsibilities, they juggle their time where they're having to get their child to the soccer match, the soccer game. Men are having to juggle too. We're all having to juggle all of these responsibilities, and it can create stress for us. It can initiate the stress response. All of these things boil down to one main thing, I think. It's very important to recognize the type of stress that you're experiencing. It is also very important to recognize and understand how stress works. Because when you're experiencing ongoing constant stress, the stress response continues to function. It's not like it goes away, it continues to function. When you're distressed, that means that the stress response has worked overtime and you are literally in distress. When you're juggling, when you're dealing with aggravating little things, it's also important to recognize that although stress comes and goes, the way you respond to the situation can either increase or decrease the negative effect the stress response has on your ability to function on a day to day basis or on a minute to minute basis. So, we're just beginning to talk about stress management, and I wanted to give you a lot of information regarding foundational principles as it relates to stress management. Why? Because you have to understand how stress works and what it is before you can learn how to manage it. When we talk again about stress, I will also talk about how to deal with situations as well as how to respond so that your stress does not increase to a point where you're unable to function or unable to think. Well, that's it for now. I'm Marcelyn Bailey. Please, please, please make sure that you take a glance at the blog post on For Real Social Workers Online Magazine. There you go. That is the web address, and the title of the blog post is A Beginner's Guide to Stress Management. You'll get some additional information, and you'll also have an opportunity to download our free ebook, Stress is Personal. Here it is. Yay! Stress is Personal, your personal guide to your personal starter guide to stress relief. So you'll have an opportunity to download that as well. Whew! I'm Marcelyn Bailey. I'm so glad you're here. Thanks to those of you who catch it on the replay. I look forward to seeing you again. And as always, take good care.